we've got the one and only, man, Trayon White. I call him the People's Champ.
Hey, what's up, Angie? How are you?
DC Council member for Ward 8, the great Ward 8. And Trayon, you hit me up over the weekend, man. You said, Angie, I got to get on. I got to holler at the people about some things. So I want to get right into it because when you were telling me about this new development project that you've kind of put a hold on in your ward,
Yep.
I wanted to get more information. I wanted to make sure that our audience is informed. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now, man.
So there's a potential project that's underway that I received called a TIF Reunion Square.
Okay.
That's tax increment financing. It's one of the tools that DC used to spur development and areas that's not developed. And so we are in a battle trying to make sure that the deal is done right.
Okay.
Part of this conversation started before I became council member, but essentially we're proposing to give $60 million in TIF funding to fund a project for a hotel, a residential building, and a office building.
Okay.
And of that, there's only 12 units that's deemed affordable. And with those affordable units, you have to make at least $70,000 in your family. And so we're trying to give some pushback on what that proposal looks like.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to make sure there are minority businesses in the deal that's going to do the retail. We're trying to make sure that it's something that works for the entire community, not just a few people in the community.
Right, because when I was doing the research on it, a big thing has been, especially in Ward 8, that, there has been a lack of development, that there aren't hotels over there, that there isn't healthcare facilities over there. So it seems like on one end, there's a benefit in that you would have more residential space, more businesses. So it seems like that's what is the idea of the whole proposal.
So last year, I put $600,000 in the budget to create more grocery options in the ward. We actually opening up 2 new grocery stores in the ward, one on MLK and Good Hope Road and one on South Capitol and Atlantic Street. We also have a bus boys and poets coming, so there is some movement when it comes to amenities in the community.
Right.
But we shouldn't use the term for amenities to accelerate gentrification, especially on people's tax dollars. And it has to be responsible development. And so we have to go back to the table with the developers in the community to try to figure out what's a happy medium for the entire community.
And what would a happy medium be based on what you've read of this TIF?
Part of it is to make sure that we have guaranteed jobs for residents. Right now in the community benefit agreement, on paper, it only guarantees 15 jobs for a project that's $300 million. And there are other jobs that's definitely going to be on the site, but not guaranteed. We also have an Anacostia Steelers, who's a football team that's not in the community benefit. We have a lot of organizations that's doing great things that can benefit from a project that's massive. And we have local businesses, construction companies, stores, mom and pop stores that want to participate that we haven't clearly ironed out to ensure that we guarantee their participation in our own community.
So essentially you're not against the development. And I think you said this in the article I was reading in the city paper. It's about responsible development, right?
Absolutely, and it's about what you got in writing on paper on the front end, not negotiating on the back end. And that's what we had a little back and forth with the community about. Because there's some residents that want the project and there's some residents that don't want the project. And it's my job as the leader of the community to make sure we can find out what that happy medium is, if it is.
Okay, because I was going to say, is it, from what you're hearing from your people, is it like a 50-50 thing, or is it,
well, DC is changing, as you know, and we have a lot of new residents that's more educated, more active in the community, that's formed a coalition, that's more active in saying this is what they want. But you have the disengaged community, that's the majority of the community, that Ward 8 probably has one of the highest unemployment rates per capita in the country. Right. And so the people that need to be engaged the most is the least informed and least engaged. And so we're trying to get them to get the information so they can make an informed decision about what they want to see happen in their community. Because we have other pressing issues like the health disparities happening in the community, the education, the crime in the community. We're talking about business opportunities in the community. We have a lot of things we can focus on that's high priority for me outside of a hotel.
Right, because but again, they're saying what, hotel, office space, retail space, apartments. I mean, it seems like it was going to be a lot of things, and it covers so many square feet. We're talking over 500,000 square feet of development, almost 1.5 million square feet of development in that area in Ward 8.
So even with that, the apartment unit is 130 units, and of that, only 12 are supposed to be deemed affordable. Wow. They're working on fixing the numbers, the developers, and sending them back to me. But we're still concerned about people living in the community. We in a housing crisis in D.C.
Yeah.
D.C. spends $80,000 a day to house homeless people in D.C.
Wow.
So if we're spending that type of money, we should be strategically aligning those resources with addressing that population. Right. Because people are taking a flight, especially the African American population in D.C. has been decreasing drastically in the last 10 years from 78% to about 47% right now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, and it continues. I mean, monthly, it continues.
And we get an influx of new residents, between 900 and 1,000 new residents every month for these last 3 years. From what I know.
Yeah. So Trayon, again, I mean, I commend you for what you do, because again, you're in a place right now where the Great Ward 8 is changing, and you're basically talking to two different groups of people. And you're trying to get our disengaged audience to be more engaged, essentially. So how can people, not just Ward 8, but just the D.C. population in general, how should we be approaching these things? How should we go about it? Because a lot of times we see the headline in the newspaper. Yeah. We see it kind of after the council has voted on things, or we see things after the fact. So what can people listening, what can we do to support you and just to push for making sure that as these developments are coming in, there is that, as you say, responsible development? So
all over the city, I think every council member has a website, and we try to keep up with our constituents through our newsletters. My website is www.trayonwhite8.com, and I send out information about when the community meetings are, what's happening on the council, what's happening in D.C., and we try to get people out to the meetings. Sometimes council meetings are happening in the daytime, where people are at work and are able to engage politically what's going on in the city. And I think we have to change that and make it in the evenings where more people can come and give their input, because really, as city officials, we work for the people.
Yeah.
And if you come downtown, you have a high chance to get a ticket. So it's a catch-22 when it comes to engaging in politics in the city.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to ask you about TIFs, which again are tax increment financing.
Yep.
Explain how that works. When we talk about the speed of gentrification, I think this is a great example of how gentrification occurs. So can you explain to the people tax increment finance?
So it's not unique with DC. It's ran throughout the country. So it's a tool in the toolbox that government use in areas that's underdeveloped. And what we do is essentially underwrite some of the projects. So if there's a $300 million project, DC underwrites about $60 million of their project, may do the infrastructure of their project to take some of the weight off the developer, because the developer's saying this can't get done but for this TIF, and the government get involved to help spur development, because most people don't want to develop in areas because it's high risk. You may not get the return on investment. But the backside is that TIFs are based on the price of living going up around that area, and the government getting their money back from the taxes going up. And that's the problem in the community. How can we ensure that as we do this development, that people's taxes don't rise, skyrocket, and our elders get pushed out, the parents get pushed out, and those who've been there for 20, 30 years get pushed out and are unable to live there. And those are the people that we're concerned about as well, not just the new people moving in.
Right, there it is. Well, Trayon, again, you're in a hell of a fight.
Always.
And that's why, but you stand strong. You're in it. I see you're in law school too now. How's that going?
Oh, tough. So I got some homework to do right now, so it's coming along.
I appreciate you for waking up and again just keeping us informed. We're open door policy on the Angie Ange Morning Show when it comes to you and anyone else who wants to speak their piece about what's going on in DC on the council, and how just keeping people informed in general. I think is very important, because like you said, we just don't know. And we don't know what to do when we hear about these things. So, again, let everybody know how they can follow you, how they can reach out to you.
I'm on Instagram, social media, TRAYON White, TrayonWhite8.com. I want to thank you also, Angie, for being advocate in the community. You've been fantastic on the front line in so many different venues, kissing the community.
Yeah, man. I gotta go visit my folks over at Anacostia too. My Anacostia High School. They know I love them over there, and I see them doing big things too. Oh, I did want to ask you too before we go about the hospital. I've been seeing a lot of my alumni. Howard University has kind of been up in arms about this new hospital that's going to be on St. Elizabeth's campus, and basically they've been saying that they were kind of pushed out of getting opportunity to bid on the project. Can you explain or say anything to that?
So briefly, Ward 8 has been struggling with providing quality healthcare services in the community, and even Ward 7 and 8. And so Councilmember Vincent Gray, who was the chair of the health committee, pushed along with Mayor Bowser to get $300 million in the budget to get a state-of-the-art new hospital to address part of the health disparities in the community. This won't be the whole thing, but a new hospital. And so Mayor Bowser selected St. Elizabeth's East Campus, was in my ward, to be that location. And there was heavy negotiation with GW to get the hospital to partner with GW to run the hospital. And I believe the pushback from Howard is saying that they didn't get a chance to participate in this process. And also, along with that deal, GW said they're not coming unless they are able to build a new tower in the Foggy Bottom community to expand the hospital to create more beds. And what I've been reading and the emails I've been receiving, Howard feels like they are being discriminated against. They haven't got an opportunity to bid. But the reality is, if we open it back up, everybody's going to be able to bid. And we don't know for sure if Howard is going to be able to compete. They may or may not. But that's the push. The vote is tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you so much on that one. Hold on real quick.